Welcome to the Aligned Business Podcast. I'm your host, Kelsey Kerslake, CEO of personal branding agency, Pinegateroad, and business coach to online service providers, coaches, and educators. I know that you believe that living a great life is so much more than the business that you lead or the money that you make. Each week, we'll dive into what it actually takes to live an aligned life with a business that supports it. Let's do this. This show is brought to you by the Aligned Business Academy. Are you so ready to go all in with your online business and hit six figures this year in a way that feels fulfilling and true to you? Apply now for the Aligned Business Academy. This is our signature program that helps you scale your online business with one-on-one and community support, a framework for learning all things online business, and a proprietary 3-part system for scaling while working way less than you are now. Say hello to more freedom, income, and impact. Apply now at pinegateroad.com/academy. That's pinegateroad.com/academy. Good morning. Oh gosh. I am sitting here. It's like 5 a.m. This is going to be a really casual episode. I have no notes. We're going to just chat about what's going on. One of the things I really want to talk about today is upper limiting self-sabotaging, because this has been floating around a lot in my world lately. And it's something I've been intentionally working through this past year. So, my gosh, this week, I kind of self-sabotaged myself. Even last week, I did a little bit. And it's interesting because I looked at my numbers yesterday, and I've actually had the biggest month in my business that I've ever had. So surprise, surprise, I'm self-sabotaging because I'm coming up against a big new thing in my business. And this is funny because I didn't even know that this was happening, but I realized I was like, I think I'm self-sabotaging myself doing some of these old habits. And then when I looked at my numbers, I was like, oh yeah, because that's happening. So in a good way, but in a bad way, it was me just realizing what was happening. So self-sabotaging, upper limits, you're like, what the heck, Kelsey? What are you even talking about? So this is something that happens after you start making those scary decisions that are outside of your comfort zone. So last week, I really talked about how to align your life and your business. And, if you are starting to make those decisions that align with that future version of you that you are walking towards, that you are so excited to become, what actually happens on the other side? What happens when you actually start to get those things that you have been dreaming about and working towards and becoming? What happens is sometimes we hit what is called the upper limit ceiling. This is something that is talked about in the Gay Hendricks book, The Big Leap. So if you are feeling like you are coming up against this big new thing, like you are reaching all of the goals that you have been working towards, and then you kind of like start to hit that upper ceiling and you get really nervous because you're like, oh my gosh, when is the other shoe going to drop? When is that terrible thing going to happen? Like, it's so good. Why is it so good? Like, this doesn't feel normal. This is another way our bodies and our minds start to just sabotage us in these different ways because it's something that's new. This isn't something that we're used to. So this is something that you have to be really intentional about realizing when you start to actually hit those things in your life, in your business. Another thing that I have seen happen, especially when I've been working with students in the Aligned Business Academy, is that they will start to dream about the future business that they're going to have. And then they're like, oh my gosh, this thing is going to happen. I'm going to have too much work and I'm going to have to hire a team and I don't know how to hire a team. So like, maybe I should just stay safe and like hold myself back from even doing the thing because I'm going to like, things are going to get too good. And this is really funny because I'm like, this is exactly this. So when things start to get too good, or even when you're starting to envision when things are going to get too good and the new problems that you're going to have, this is where this limiting belief and these like upper limit problems can start to come in. So I just want to talk through it and talk about some of the things that I've been through, some of the things that I am doing currently to smash these upper limiting beliefs, smash the upper limit ceiling, and step into even more abundance in my life and for our students and clients. And those of you listening, whether or not you're a student or a client and you yourself are just coming up against this next big level. So the first thing is, I think I do want to talk about that, like when you're dreaming about the future and you're limiting yourself before you're even beginning. So if you are thinking about, one day when I make $1 million, or one day when I get 10 clients, or I'm like hitting towards booking out in my business journey, what's coming up for you? Are you not doing the work to get there because you're so afraid of what is going to happen afterwards? This is really where getting yourself some support to start with can be really valuable. Getting yourself around people who have been there and done what you are doing and wanting to do, this can help you see what's possible, and it can almost pave the path for where you're heading, and you'll be able to be supported through this journey. So I did this when I started my agency, or when I really intentionally wanted to begin an agency. I had a mentor who was running an agency herself. And this was really beneficial to me because she had been through those things. She had been through the mindset blocks of, bringing on team and how to manage them, and what growing your business and scaling that could even look like for an agency. And that was so helpful because I literally was just in tears for those first several months. It was really, really hard for me. And I was hitting so many of these upper limiting beliefs because it was something I didn't know before. And when it's something that you don't know, it's obviously unknown. You've never done it. And so it's going to be new. It's not going to feel comfortable. It's going to feel weird. And if I probably relied just on myself, if I relied on I rely on myself all of the time, and I probably would have figured a way out, but it felt a lot more secure to have that mentor there for me to help guide me along and also tell me what was normal, because I'd never I'd met agency owners, but it was in a different way. I'd never met one of these online business agency owner people and like how to actually run this online business with team in a way that super works. I'd done it with team and I crashed and burned and I was ready to do this for real. So having her just help me through all that was very, very helpful. So that is one thing, getting a mentor. Also, knowing that you're kind of like putting the cart before the horse. And I don't know, like whatever, that's that saying. And really, that is sometimes your ego. This is that upper limiting belief keeping you safe, keeping you secure in your little cozy spot. And that is really what we're trying to realize, like, oh, okay, that is that ego getting back at me, trying to keep me safe here, having me worry and be anxious about these future problems that I can totally be equipped to deal with when I actually hit them. I actually got this email from Denise Duffield Thomas the other day. I'm just on her newsletter list, and it was entitled like rich people problems, like people being worried about having to pay millions of dollars in taxes when they become multimillionaires. And she's like, why are you worrying about that now? Like, let's just worry about getting clients. So I'm wondering if you have ever felt like that, like you are worrying about all these future problems. And so you're not even taking actions to get to where you want to go because you're like, oh, well, if I make $1 million, then I'm going to have to pay so much in taxes and hire a team, and it's going to be such hard work. So I'm just not even going to go for it. And that is really this upper limiting issue. I guess, issue. You can stay safe. That's fine if you're choosing that. But if you really do want to go after that $1 million, it's like those are some of those limiting beliefs that are keeping you safe and stuck where you are currently because you're thinking about those future problems. So this is something I feel like I did for a long time. I was always worried about the hard work that it would take to bring team on to manage them. I didn't want to be a manager, and this is a little side note, but when you actually bring team on, and if you don't want to be a manager, you hire a manager. So you are just doing the work that you love, and you actually have somebody who loves managing people manage the people, which is why I have my amazing Janet on my team. She manages all of our people, and she's just incredible. Love her so much. Hi, Janet. So early, so tired. This is my limiting thing today. So that is the one thing, putting those future thoughts and fears ahead of like things that are going to happen in the future. You're stopping yourself from even getting there because you're afraid of those next level problems. So I want you to realize, like, when are you having these next level problems, and when are these thoughts coming up, and how can you just tell yourself, like, oh, let's worry about getting more clients first. Let's go do this first thing first, and really making that happen before you set yourself up for failure because you're not even willing to go after it in the first place. So that is thing one. Thing two is when you actually hit those upper limits and then you start to feel unstable because it's something that is new. Your body might also start to self-sabotage you. I was talking with a friend this week. She's been going through, we've both had our like best money months in July, and she also has been going through some upper limiting things, and her body actually just got really, really sick. And it's because she was working at this higher level. She was bringing on more clients than she had ever dealt with before. And she was starting to get really nervous. Like, when is the other shoe going to drop? When is this all going to come crashing down and burning? And when am I going to be really upset at myself for, thinking that I could work after these big goals? And I think this is really normal. Whenever we're stepping into these next big levels, it feels really uncomfortable to be in that space because it's new. And I've been also hitting this in a couple different ways, and it's something that I've been hitting this entire year. And I think I've done this before, but I've been really intentional about realizing when I'm self-sabotaging and intentionally choosing to not, which is hard sometimes because my habits and my neural pathways in my brain are so used to doing a certain something that it's really hard to go against that. And this is where that saying where, what you did to get where you are now is not what you need to do to get to the next level. Like, you need to be changing things up in order to get to that next place. And one of the things I am going through currently is that the hustle that I did to get to where I am today is not what I need to be doing to get to the next level. So I'm going to be really transparent with some of the money things right now. So in the past, I would take on random work that was over $1,000 because I was like, ooh, good money. Like, $1,000, amazing. Let's take on this work. I know that it's going to be like financially helpful for my company, for myself, for my team, and let's do this. Okay? And we have solid processes, packages, people that come into the agency and go through these procedures that we have. And in the past, I've always taken on these like side projects. Like, a friend will come to me and be like, hey, can you do blah, 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 this or that? And I still charge premium, wonderful rates. I had kind of a rule for myself where I wouldn't take on anything under $1,000 because if I did, that would actually inhibit the ability I had to do what I needed to do within my business to reach the revenue goals we needed to hit. So $1,000 was my limit. And I would still take those on, and it was awesome. And it really did add to the bottom line of my business for many years. And I would take on these weird projects, not weird, like they were fun, but it was just like not something that was within our normal agency packages. And I would take these on, and it actually was something that was good to get to my business to a certain point. And this week I took on another one, which in my brain, I was like, oh, this is going to be so fun. So I'll get into the actual specifics. So one of my online business friends has her like sales pages set up in Kajabi. And I went in, I was like, okay, like she got some feedback saying she needed to like spice up her sales pages and make them a little bit more like designer-y. And so I was thinking, oh, let me get in there. Let me tinker with your graphics. Like I can edit your typefaces and all of these things. And it'll be so fun because I've never worked in Kajabi. This is something I know a lot of online business owners are using. So I thought it might be helpful for me to learn about how to use Kajabi to, you know, in case that was something a client wanted or needed. And then I'd know what the platform even did, how to work with it, all of these things. So I was like, let's do this. I'll go play with your graphics. We'll make this amazing sales page. And when I got in there, I realized it was like, whoa. It was, first of all, working really, really slowly. It was really, really limited in what it can do as far as a design perspective compared to what I'm used to working in Show It. And it was just like, oh my gosh, this is like a much bigger project than I thought it would be. So me taking on this like quote unquote, like outside of, you know, normal procedures project turned into this much bigger thing. And this is something that I have done in the past. And it gets really kind of exciting because I'm like, oh, let's see what like possibilities this whole thing can be. And I took this on. I'm still working on it this week, but it ended up like, because of the time that I have for my business, I think you know by now, I have about 8 to 10 hours that I work in my business every week. And to take this on now, this longer sales page and these other things, it turned into this really big project that I wasn't expecting. And part of me is like, Kelsey, you took this on. I'm like obviously like fulfilling all of the things. We're having very open conversations about this whole thing. And I want to stick to the word that I had that I would create this new sales page and make it happen for her. So this is by no means like her fault or issue. It's more about me like taking on and learning that these little extra fun projects that I do outside of my agency are actually like making that decision is a self-sabotage, I think. I'm going to know this for the future. So don't worry, friend, if you are listening. I'm like, obviously we're talking about all of these things behind the scenes. And so yeah, this week is like, I'm waking up at like 4 a.m. And the other day I was like thinking about all of the design things and I couldn't sleep because I was so excited. I get almost like manic excited about some of the projects that we're doing. And I actually last night, I had 2 hours of sleep because I was up and like my heart was racing and I was like thinking about all of these design things in my head. And yesterday was just like, I had a full day of like intensives with coaching clients and just like all of this work. And this is not my norm in quarantine. I'm a very, like, you know me, I'm very into my aligned weeks, making sure my schedules are good, that I'm taking care of myself, because I know that having the energy I need to do what I need to do within my life and my business is my priority. And for the first time in my business, taking on one of these $1,000-ish projects and putting it like outside of the scope of my agency has actually been holding me back from doing what I actually need to do in my business. So you're probably listening to this and you're like, why wasn't this posted on Tuesday? Tuesdays are the day you launch your podcast. And it was because I was up all night getting excited and weird about design things. And I had 2 hours of sleep and a full day of work to get done. And I just couldn't do it. And so this was like, I was like, oh, Kelsey, you're choosing these old things that you're used to. You're so used to bringing on these extra projects and having them benefit your business. And now where my business is scaling to, taking on those projects actually takes my focus away from what is really mattering to my bottom line and to my business and to my team and to my energy. And the reason that I have processes and procedures and team and like everything built the way that I do is to support the business scaling. So me making this decision to take on this like outside of scope project, bringing on, Kelsey as a freelancer to do this project was like taking all of my energy for the week. And I'm at a point in my business where 1 week of taking away all of my energy towards something that is outside of the business is actually sabotaging the growth of my business. There are internal things and bigger visioning things that my company needs my time and energy on. And right now, like this entire week, I'm focused on this other thing, which is like, I'm having fun. I kind of am really thankful that I made this decision during this time, because now I'm realizing like, oh, this is what they mean by simplifying as you're scaling. When you're taking on these different projects, just because they seem financially secure, it's actually taking away all of the time that you have to actually be scaling your business and working in your business. And those are the things that are going to help you get to that next level. When we're too busy, when we're stressed out, when we're not fueling ourselves, we can't vision, we can't think into the future. We're in that stress mode. And so that is how I've been this whole week. I actually we normally have that time each night where my husband and I have forced family fun time. And it was 5:00 last night. And I was like, babe, I just have to go to bed. I'm so sorry. Please take care of the baby. I'm sleeping. So I went to bed at 5 p.m. last night. I got up at 4 a.m. and I'm feeling somewhat refreshed, but not all the way. I'm actually surprised. I'm like, that was a lot of sleep. Why am I not more awake? I need another coffee. So all of that said, this is where I'm getting to. It's like all of that work, all of that busyness, all of the things that actually got me to this secure place in my business, I actually have to retrain my brain and start to say no to these things and turn into the business owner who is so I'm trying to even think of how I need to be, because I'm in the middle of transitioning towards it. But I have to be so adamant about my boundaries and taking time to do what is helping my own business grow, and using my time towards that. Because this time is so valuable now that even taking on a project that's a couple $1,000s is not something that's actually going to be detrimental to my business in the end if I keep choosing that. If I choose the projects that are a couple $1,000s every single week, I literally can't reach the goals that I want to be reaching with my business. And I think that is the transition from hustling and doing the doing to scaling. So getting up to this point, yes, I was taking on all of the projects. I was having team support with a lot of the projects, but it was any project, let's bring it on, let's do it. Let's, make the stability happen for the business. And now it's wow, we have these really rock solid packages. We have rock solid programs. And these have been intricately created to support people in the way that we want to be supporting people, that align with our values, that super help people in these specific places where they're at. And when I take my energy away from that, then it's like it isn't going to work. So this is one of the things I'm transitioning into. And I just learned this week. So I wonder if you're at this place where you're like hustling, taking all the work on. You are so busy and you don't have time to actually vision out for your business. If this is the case, I want you to think about what could be possible if you did create more white space in your business. What decisions that you are making, that you are intentionally choosing, whether you think it or not, that are, kind of holding you back from being that future version of you, from leading the business that you truly want to be leading. I see in the past, and I've seen with a lot of my clients, that our people-pleasing tendencies can sometimes get in the way here. And we want to make sure that people are happy, that they're supported, all of these things. And so we kind of go out of scope. We go out of our boundaries and we go out of what we know is to be helpful and kind of that like strategized and proper way to do something, because we want to be helpful and we want that client or that person to be happy. And at the end of the day, that's actually not following the things that you intentionally design and set up within your business, is actually taking away from the experience. And it's holding you back from growing to where you really want to go. So those are some of the things I wanted to share. Trying to think of because I feel like this upper limiting thing has been a big thing on my brain. I keep having to realize no, Kelsey, don't choose that thing that feels fun right now. That's going to actually, limit you from being the best person you need to be for that situation. Example, last week we had our Academy retreat day, and I wanted to stay up late with my husband and watch TV and have some wine and all of these things. And I was like, Kelsey, bring it back. You have to do this amazing retreat tomorrow. You need to be in your best mindset and rested and taking care of you so that you can serve the people that are coming to the retreat tomorrow. So that was another time, all of these little choices that I'm making, that kind of was holding me back from being that most clear, best version of myself. So I had to really hold myself back, even though that night I really wanted to hang out with my husband, stay up late and have a couple glasses of wine. So I didn't, but I wanted to. And yeah, I want you to be thinking this week, what are some of these choices that you're making? Are they keeping you safe and secure? And safe and secure can even be not fun. Maybe you feel safety in living paycheck to paycheck, and that is your norm. And that obviously you're surviving. So anything that actually brings you towards stability is making a choice that feels out of your comfort zone because you haven't been there. And that's really where I feel like I'm not that exact example, but I'm reaching this new level of security within my business, and it's different and weird because I've never been here before. And now it's oh, what are these decisions I've been making that seemed so normal that I am now having to second guess because I'm getting to this next level? So I'll leave you with those thoughts today. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm excited to just casually talk with you guys and be my tired self today and meet you where I'm at, perfectly imperfect. Have a wonderful week, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you've enjoyed the show, please take a few seconds right now to leave a rating and review on iTunes. It's so simple and helps us so much. This is incredibly helpful for getting this show into more ears so that we can make even more impact. I'm sending you so much love. I hope you have an amazing week. You've got this.